Got it started? We will call the Monday, January 8th, 2024 Juvenile Detention Center Board meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Joe Carr.
Here.
Judge Steve Daniel. Here. Ms. Claire Maxwell. Here. Superintendent William Cole.
Here.
Dr. McDonald. Here. Dr. Anita Herron. Here. Mr. Chris Johnson.
Looks like we have a quorum. Thank you, Sheila. Vice Chair Daniel, did you have an opportunity to review the minutes?
I did.
Thank you.
And I would move that they be approved.
We have a motion for approval of the minutes. Do we have a second? We have a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes stand approved. We don't have anybody for public comments, Sheila?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. We'll go on to item 4, the data report. It's on your desk.
Open positions?
Yes, ma'am. Open positions, my apologies. Thank you.
So we have currently 2 full-time female detention officer positions that are open, as well as a full-time corporal position that we intend to be interviewing this week for.
Any questions for Ms. Todd, Director Todd? Man, I'm having a hard morning. Director Duke. It's not even morning, it's afternoon. I am just like... Vice Chair Daniel, would you like to chair this particular meeting? Well, I'm not doing a very good job. Are any questions for Ms. Duke? Being none, her report stands approved without objection. Now to the data report.
Okay, on the table, you will find the data report. We have a total of 8 young people in our facility. 6 of those are from Rutherford County. 1 is from Marion, and 1 is from Sumner. The 2 young people who have a pending release or court date have been bound over to the adult court. However, they have not had their case docketed yet. If there are any other questions, I'll happily answer them.
Any questions or comments for Ms. Duke on the data report? Being none, without objection, it stands approved. The educational services report.
In front of you, you also have the December 2023 educational report. 2 pages. We are still getting services from the Board of Education for our special education youth. And beyond that, it's the information that you're used to seeing with our software that we use, or our platform called Edgenuity.
That conclude your report, Ms.
Yes,
Duke?
it does.
Are there any questions for Ms. Duke on the educational services report? Seeing none and without objection, we'll accept. And the quarterly reports for October, November, and December of 2023 are on your tablet. Ms. Duke, you're recognized.
Okay, so for those of you who were here, you will remember that prior board member Leslie Collum had asked that we do quarterly reports, and this is one of our months which that we do that. So the last couple of months were October, November, and December. These are the reports that I am currently taking to the County Public Safety Committee on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, which had already included the majority of the information that the board members had discussed at that time that they wanted to have access to. So instead of recreating this wheel, we just share this information from public safety. If there are any specific questions about any of the months or any of the forms, I was asked prior to the meeting to clarify the information contained on the rap sheets, which is something that you will see monthly. There are 2 sections on the rap sheet, and it is detained at the top and released at the bottom. And the clarification was just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. The young people in the released category were not detained on these charges when they were brought in for processing for their court dates, and to make sure that we could serve the petitions. These young people stayed in our intake area, had those papers processed, their court dates given, and then their legal guardians were asked to come and pick them up. They were never detained in the facility. The young people that whose charges are reflected in the top portion of that form actually were processed, booked in, dressed out, and spent some time in the housing area prior to being released after their court date.
Judge Daniel, you're recognized.
When the latter group that you were just discussing are released, are they reflected in the release down the bottom part of the report?
Not in this. This form was.
That's what's sort of confusing.
Right. This form was created at the request of a county commissioner at some point in the game, and I don't know what year. They were interested in the kinds of charges that were being held and the kind of charges that were not being held, and who was filing those petitions. The information that you're talking about potentially is going to be on the yearly activity report, the one that begins with population average for the month. It has the number of young people that were booked in, broken down by male and female, and whether they were in county or out of county. And we still have whether they were in DCS custody, although we do not currently contract with the Tennessee Department of Children's Services. They are also, there is about halfway down on that yearly activity report is a Rutherford County released with court date. Those are the young people who are technically reflected in the released area of the rap sheet, because they were Rutherford County kids. They came in, they got their court date set, their petition served, and were released to a parent with a court date.
Any other questions? Judge Daniel, you recognized.
Somebody without the knowledge of how that works could easily misconstrue this type of report, I would think, and that probably generates a lot of questions for you. I don't really know how to change it, because you're making the report at the request of the commission, correct?
At the time, yes.
It could be redesigned to more accurately reflect what you explained, because when I looked at it, I had the same issue, not understanding the protocol of how you were doing this, or why the report was that way.
Director Duke, let me ask a question, if I may.
Sure.
In this regard, how many times do you get an inquiry regarding the format of this particular report, similar to the question of the observation Judge Daniel has made?
In 2023, I was asked one time about why something was set up the way that it was, and I remembered specifically that had come from, at that time, Commissioner Gary Farley. So that's how long it had been since the report had been changed, and they were asking about a commissioner who had not been a commissioner in many, many years. So they're used to seeing it. It's the information that they're familiar with. I go monthly, but if there's something that you would like to specifically ask that I change or relabel, I will do my best. Now, I'll have to be able to explain the new version to all of the commissioners as well. So,
Well, my question would be whether the commissioners themselves understand this type of report. And the characterizations that it implies, the implication is that some of these folks are detained when they're actually not detained, then they were released. And I just was trying to figure out how it would be best to address that.
how about I take the rap sheet and retitle those two separate parts of that form, maybe separate them into 2 pages with more explanation as to what each section truly means, and we try that.
Yeah, and maybe the released could be a category under detained that really were detained, because some of them will ultimately be released, and this group down below that's now released but were never really detained would be another terminology would be used.
I will give it
Processed,
I'll give it a shot and bring something back in a draft form next month, and let's chop it up.
Maybe you could use the term processed and released or something like that, but, not indicating that they were detained. I'm just thinking that might be helpful.
All right, thank you.
Director Cope, you're recognized.
Is the rap sheet, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was requested once by commission, public safety, I assume?
The information contained on it was requested by the Public Safety Committee. This form, I will say this, this form was created using a jail management software that we are going to no longer be using within 5 months.
Outdated.
And our new jail management system that we've talked about that's coming online in the latest in July is Jail Tracker, which is also used by other facilities in the county. And I suspect once we become comfortable with the reports available in Jail Tracker, we are going to be revising and creating a new packet that we're going to be taking to public safety very soon. So we can start changing this in some of the ways that Board Member Judge Daniel has discussed, but even after those changes in the next few months, we may have something even more fabulous.
And this was before this board came online, correct?
Correct.
So is this even relevant to what they would need in public safety?
This board or public safety?
This rap sheet, is it even relevant to what they would need? Do they need this information?
I suspect if I removed this entirely from the public safety format that I would not get questions.
On the other hand, in that respect, because of our past history before the board, it might be interest to them to make sure that we're still doing what we said we would do as the creation of the board in screening and ensuring that people don't get in or detained that don't meet the statutory criteria.
I will circle back with County Attorney Nick Christensen. There is, if my memory serves, 2 items that we were not to change that we take to the Public Safety Committee so that those forms and that data can be reviewed. But that review was only it had an end date on it, and after that end date, I don't think anybody's interested in maintaining that information anymore.
Any other questions? Seeing none, without objection, we'll accept the quarter reports for October, November, December of 2023, and we'll go to item number 8, employee recognition. Dr. McDonald, you're recognized.
Are we on? Good afternoon. At our last board meeting, the mayor had requested, and I had accepted the responsibility of putting together some materials relative to employee recognition. But before I make my presentation, I want to first thank Mrs. Todd and our director for their laborious commitment to this project, because it's something that was not worked on unilaterally. It's something that worked on with the staff over the holiday break. And the other disclaimer is that in your packet, you'll see the first 2 items, which is a revised draft of proclamation and then a draft letter of appreciation. Those are actually the 2 items that are going to be presented today. The remaining materials, the balance of the materials are just have been put together based upon, bless you, some of the conversations that we had during our last meeting, and in terms of just putting together some materials regarding employee recognition. Again, as you read them, you'll see that, I mean, the concepts are all over the board in terms of what may or may not motivate employees to stay on board, or what motivates employees to perform. So again, the disclaimer there is that I'm sure a lot of these articles may be somewhat subjective, and I'm not offering an opinion one way or the other than just having put the materials together and let each individual board member make their own opinion about how they might be beneficial to our board moving forward. So again, and also want to mention that I think at our last board meeting, Mayor, there was, I don't know if there was a formal motion put on the floor to endorse the videotape and to support the proclamation and the letter of appreciation. So if I remember having seen the videotape from our last meeting, I did not notice that, so I thought I might just bring it up.
And a point of clarification, it was my understanding that what you were putting before us in this form of this proclamation, this is would actually be a resolution that would be adopted by the county commission. A proclamation can be adopted by the mayor's office without the county commission. So if this committee would like this particular proclamation to come before the county commission for approval, then we need to recognize it as a resolution and not a proclamation. I just want to make sure that I'm getting my instructions accurately. So does this committee wish this to be in the form of a resolution or a proclamation?
The revised draft says that it's a resolution.
The one that I have sitting in front of me says proclamation.
Yeah, at the bottom it says, "Now therefore be it resolved."
That's correct, but at the top it says proclamation.
Oh.
And I wanted to I'm just asking for some clarification.
I understand.
I would prefer it be a resolution, but that's only the chair speaking as one voice, because I would like to think that This is important enough to get the entire county commission up. Yes, sir. You're recognized, Mr.
I would
McDonald.
make a motion that it be presented as a resolution.
Perfect. We have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? So all those in favor of accepting this language, so we're going to amend that motion just a little bit, if you don't mind. We're going to not only state that this will be a resolution, but we're going to accept the language as presented by Dr. McDonald in the form of a resolution. Is that an acceptable amendment to the motion? That way we don't have to make two. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We're going to accept this as a resolution and the language contained therein. Thank you, Dr. McDonald. Please continue.
The second document that you have in your packet that was put together by Mrs. Todd, and again, the staff, is the draft letter of appreciation. Again, this is the first of two items that I'm asking that we take action on. And again, the remaining documents in your packet will not require any action. So I'm making a motion that we adopt the letter of appreciation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Can I make a suggestion that we do a pretty good proofread of this? A couple things in paragraph 3 and 5 that.
Well, yes, thank you. What we can do now, if we're going to change the content or intent, then we probably need to do that here. If we're just checking for grammar and punctuation, obviously my office will undertake that with permission from the author, and we will make sure it's correct in that regard. But to the extent that we're changing the intent through the language, we probably need to have that discussion here. I don't think that's what you're saying, Director Cope. Is that correct?
Correct. Just before it goes out to anywhere, just have it proofread.
Absolutely. Dr. McDonald, do we have these two documents in electronic format?
Yes, we do.
Perfect.
We do, right? Yes, we do.
So either you can forward those to my office, and before we print those, we can make sure that they've been spell checked and grammatically checked. There's just this. Okay.
Do.
I don't think we need a motion for that, unless somebody just wants to itching to make a motion. Right. Without objection, then we'll accept the letter with the understanding that we'll make it grammatically and punctually correct. Dr. McDonald, is there anything else?
No, just that,
Your microphone, please.
thank you. I believe that there's still a motion on the floor to adopt the letter itself.
Thank you, sir. There most
You're
certainly is. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
If noes, the ayes have it. We adopt the letter. Thank you, Dr. McDonald, for your work on this. We very much appreciate it. And it's quite honestly, it's well deserved. Number 9, excuse me, existing program, Director Duke.
So just for informational purposes, along with the articles that Dr. McDonald had shared for everyone's use and review, I just wanted to, because it is easier to see it and have it, to give y'all the examples of our existing employee recognition program, excuse me. And so that's just there for informational purposes.
My apologies, Director Duke. What did I miss? I was engaged.
I've shared what we're currently doing for employees and supervisors to recognize them on a
Yes.
quarterly basis. That just sort of goes in tandem with the articles that Dr. McDonald shared in case there was more discussion to be had regarding those ideas.
Yes, ma'am. Any further discussion? Not, will accept without objection. Number 9 on our agenda is fiscal year 2024 out-of-county contracts. Director Duke.
You will remember that we had some discussion about changing our current bed rate from $175 per day per child to $200 per day per child. These contracts have been sent out to our existing out-of-county agencies that we work with, and to date, we have received them back from Cannon County, Sumner County, Weakley County, and Hartsville-Trousdale. The way this usually works is that these will then begin the committee process, starting with public safety. It'll go through budget and finance, and then to the full commission. And then when these are signed, these counties, as well as others, as they begin trickling in, will be set up and ready to go come July 1st at this new rate of $200 per day. So this is just the starting point for this to be recognized as our official new contract for 2024 fiscal
Thank you.
year.
Thank you for that. Judge Daniel, you're recognized.
These contracts are with counties that we currently have relationships with?
Yes, I have all of the addresses, obviously, since we bill them, of our existing county contracts. Additionally, as time permits, we are going to be sending out the same packet that was sent to these folks to the remaining 95 counties, just because there are times, for many different reasons, that it is advantageous for a county to have multiple contracts with multiple detention facilities. So since we are going through the process of redoing these contracts, we're going to offer those contracts to any other county that might be interested.
The contract that's being used is the uniform contract that our county attorney prepared, and with the new rate.
Correct.
So it's not a reinvention of the wheel or deviations from one county to the next. They're the standard.
That's correct. We had an addendum over the years. He included the addendum wording into the new contract, and there was some, I think, one other very minor change. All of the contracts are the same, just that the mail blast is going out in two different groups. We've got the first group that we are currently working with. All of those have left the building, and then as we are able to, we're going to begin sending out the rest.
Thank you, Judge Daniel. Any other? Director Cope, you're recognized.
Have we gotten any feedback from our out-of-county partners, positive or negative?
No, these four counties didn't bat an eye at the change. I haven't received any phone calls from existing counties asking if there was any wiggle room.
Because
Good,
this
good.
reflects the new rate, correct?
Yes, it does. We just had some minor questions as to which line do we sign on was really all we got.
Excellent. Any other questions? And if there is no objection, then we will accept the fiscal year 2024 out-of-county contracts report. We're now to other business. Director Duke.
Yes, I'm sorry, and I forgot to put it on here.
Pointing at yourself, that means you have other business.
I have other business. Last month, we had discussed if there was a way from our current jail management system, which we are leaving, to do any analysis on recidivism. And the short answer is no. That's one of the reasons why we're transitioning to Jail Tracker. And I got together with one of the generous employees at the Correctional Work Center, and he walked me through, since we haven't started using any of the Jail Tracker officially yet, where the reporting options were. And they had several different reporting options on how they can pull recidivism numbers in the new jail system, the Jail Tracker. So the thoughts are that no, I can't get that information to y'all currently without going through and counting them with pen and paper. But that is something that we would be able to do next fiscal year. But just also to reemphasize like I did last month, because of the way that the magistrates are handling detention and release information on these kids, more often than not, unless it's a first-time, very serious charge, which we do have currently in our facility. So there is one person that this would apply to. The majority of our young people are not first-time offenders that we are detaining. One of the young people that are charged with the first-degree murder, that was their first charge in this county. So it happens, but it's rare. So the short answer on the recidivism is the ones that we detain are generally not young people who have not been involved in juvenile court in some manner.
Dr. McDonald, you're recognized.
So if I understand correctly, a majority of our detainees are not first-time offenders.
The ones that are booked in and held, the ones that are detained, are generally not. It can happen.
Okay.
Like I said, this particular young person that we have now, their first felony charge was an attempted murder. So they were detained on that. Now, they don't have, prior charges in Rutherford County, and I'm not sure what their situation in any other counties are. But in Rutherford County, that was their first charge.
Is jail tracker something that's used uniformly across the state, or is it just left up to each individual county?
No, jail tracker is just a proven jail management software company that the county has a great relationship with.
Okay.
That was able to come in and was something that we could not only rely upon for being a good company to work with, but we were also able to afford.
I really think that what Dr. McDonald is asking is the question, do multiple counties across the state use this same software so there's integration of data from Memphis all the way to, and that's characteristic of all of the various court systems across the state. It's always been a problem, and this is another example of that. But back to your original question, I used to call these frequent flyers. They're the ones that are.
They're also the ones that have received the most services, if you think about it. They've been given many opportunities to participate in as many programs and services generally as the county offers.
Duke, does that conclude
It does.
your other business? Do we have any other business before the committee? Seeing none, if there is no objection, we're adjourned. Thank you.